it was in October of 2019. I was coming home from work and I got involved in a wreck. And in that wreck, there was also another individual involved. I think his name was Mr. Glasgow, and he was on a motorcycle, and he lost his leg during that incident. I had fallen asleep behind the wheel, but I had drugs in my system, and I was arrested and taken to jail at that point. During the time that I've been incarcerated, I've completed many classes, including substance abuse class, anger management class. I got to River Bend right around the same time that COVID was really getting bad, so I kind of got stuck there for a bit. But there, I was able to complete anger management and risk management at that facility. And from there, I moved to several different places, including Marksville, where I was able to get um, another slew of classes that gave me pretty much my full year of good time. But then I went straight from there to Bossier, where I completed the SHISAT program. And then I was also a GED tutor as well while I was there. I do regret the events that took place on the day. I shouldn't have been driving as tired as I was. I shouldn't have had drugs in my system. Um, I've always kind of struggled with substance abuse since I was very young. Um, Saying no was a problem, but and I hate that the um, the events of that day altered Mr. Glasgow's life and his family's life to the degree that I know that it did. Um, since I've gotten to West Baton Rouge a year ago, I've managed to save quite a bit of money. I've managed to maintain the same job that I've had this entire time, and my bosses really love me there, and I work every day. And my plan whenever I get out is, I'm hoping that I have enough money saved up to where I can get me another vehicle and get get things kind of lined out to where I have a good head start uh, next time around.
Okay. All right. So the only reason you're in jail is because of that car wreck.
That's the reason why I got arrested that day. Um, as far as, I mean, I was on parole at the time that I got in the wreck.
Okay. So you were on parole, you got arrested, things you were on parole for. Okay, we'll let somebody else get into that.
You want to let the,
Right. Okay. Okay, we're gonna hear two people that are, well, first, let's hear from somebody from West Baton Rouge. One of the staff members, would you tell us how he's been since he's been there?
Me, sir?
Yep.
Oh, as far as I know, I've never had to give him a report. Um, he worked every day and, that's pretty much all I have. I've not seen him engaging in any alcoholic or drug activity. So that's about the gist.
Okay, all right. So now let's hear from Reverend Borland. It was Borrell, Albert
Borrell.
Borrell. Did you
Yes,
get it?
that's good. My name is Father Albert Wayne Borrell, and I'm been a priest, Roman Catholic priest for 44 years. And I'm also a canon lawyer for the Diocese of Lake Charles, so I work in those things that people call endowments. And I've known his father, I call him Tracy, okay? uh, he's called Robin formally, but I've known Tracy since he was in high school. I can give you a few little things that I think are reflective of how I don't think he's a danger to society anymore. Um, I remember once when his father was still alive. His father was my best friend for 27 years. We like to hunt together, and um, we like to watch football games, and um, especially when there was having the Super Bowl. And oftentimes when dad and I would get together and we start laughing and cheering for the football, I could see Tracy over there on the side just kind of looking at, are these supposedly mature men or not? And one of the really moving things was when he brought his two sons. They now have been put in foster care, and I think they've been adopted. So I'm hoping that in the future he'll be able to reestablish some relationship. But by himself, not with his girlfriend, he brought his two children, his two boys. And you could tell he didn't ask his mom to change the diapers. One of them was still in diapers for sure. But he took care of the fatherly things and the motherly things. And I thought that was really moving that a young man um, would be away from his wife or his girlfriend and would come to his parents to bring the kids to see their grandparents and take care of everything. And you could tell those two little boys really loved him, and I could tell that he loved them also. Another thing that moved me in his life was sometimes he'd get upset, and I'll tell you one time when he got upset. You'll remember this, Tracy. Um, his dad was going to wash some of his clothes, and so he took some of Tracy's and added them to the batch. Unfortunately, his phone was in that batch, and so it was destroyed. And he got upset. Any young person would get upset, but it wasn't a real violent yelling. He was raising his voice, but not yelling and screaming. And I had some extra money with me because I'd gone probably to hunt deer with his dad. And so I said, well, I'll give you $300. That doesn't sound like much today, but when that was occurring, he was very grateful. And suddenly, when he saw the solution to the problem, the anger just dissipated. And he was very grateful, and he thanked me for that. Since he's been in prison, he's written me a number of different letters. And I was surprised at some of the books that he read. If he could tell you some of those, some of them were classics. He also told me that he was reading his Bible, and oftentimes people in prison do that. And I knew that he was studying for different things. And what I've heard from his mom is the situation he's in now, if he can maintain that job, I don't think he's a threat because I've never seen him as a mean or vindictive person. Okay, the use of the drugs, I knew about that. I never saw it, never experienced it around him. But he always kept that to himself in his little trailer when I'd see them. I don't think he's a threat to anybody. I think for the most part. And another thing that touched my heart, I went to his graduation from high school. That was a long time ago, of course. And I was sitting there, and they had a tradition that place to give roses to different people. And so he brought one to his mom and his dad. And I was really surprised that he came to this old geezer here, Father Bert Borrell, and gave me a rose also. And it really touched my heart because young guys, they don't usually do things like that. Yeah, mom, dad, girlfriend, people of that sort. So I think he's got a gentle heart. At one time, I thought he was going to be an artist because he'd make artwork out of for cartoons and things like that. Um,
Okay, could you kind of
Yes,
wrap
sir.
it up, please? Or we?
oh yeah, I'm finished. I think he's not a threat. I could go on for hours. He's a good man at heart. He made some mistakes. He did some stupid things. That's enough. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks for
thank you,
listening.
sir. Miss Mary Gorman, who is the mother. Miss Gorman, are you there? Can you tell us a few things and just keep it to a couple minutes, please? Tell us some things about your son.
Well, I've always seen him as a very kind-hearted person. He would do anything for anybody to help him. He was never mean or smart aleck to me or his dad. He was always respectful. And he always worked, and no matter what kind of job he had, he never complained about it. And I know he worked at some hard jobs. He never would complain about the job. He would just get up, get in his car, and go to work. And and he was good in high school. He had friends. Um, and I just can't wait till he's released. I haven't seen him in 6 years or more. And I just can't wait to the day that he gets out. I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate that.
Well,
Ms. Pepper, are you ready to
Yes, I am.
ask some questions for us?
Mr. Gorman,
Yes, ma'am.
I've heard some wonderful things about you, but you have a very, you have a past that's, well, we're gonna start in 2016, okay? For
Okay.
your criminal history, because, you've been revoked 3 times. You've been on probation or good time parole, you've been revoked 3 times. In 2016, your first charge involved domestic violence with your girlfriend. I'm not gonna bother to mention names because they're not involved here. And you had a Glock gun and rounds were found in the driveway, and there was a DV altercation. So that was the first situation. That was 2016. Then 1 year later, March 2017, in between then, there was a baby boy born. You already had a 2-year-old.
Yes,
Now, I listened to the man talk, and he talked about how the children both loved you so much. You want to explain how that baby got taken away from y'all? Or you want me to?
The charge that got the kids taken away from us was second-degree cruelty. And honestly, I couldn't explain to you how that happened. I know that I didn't have any part in that. As far as I should have maybe seen something had happened, was one thing, but I do know that that the mother of those children was suffering badly from postpartum depression. And she also, like me, had an extensive history with drug abuse. So maybe there was some things going on that either I seen and I didn't want to see, but if I would have physically seen her do anything to those kids, then I would have yanked them from her possession immediately. I have my problems, but I'm not a monster.
Did
And
she charged with anything? I know you got charged with second-degree cruelty. Was she
we both-
charged up?
we both did, yes, ma'am.
Both got charged?
Um,
The baby was, 2 months old, so 8 weeks old, right?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then the way that it was found out, thank goodness, it probably saved the child's life because it had to go to the doctor for immunizations. And when it went there, when they touched the baby, for that, the baby started crying so hard that he lost his breath and he turned purple.
Yes,
And they
ma'am.
had to call, the ambulance, and he was taken to the emergency room. And at that point, there were hemorrhages in both of his eyes. A full body x-ray and a CT scan showed multiple fractures to both legs, broken ribs, skull fracture on the right side. Then they interviewed you. I don't have her interview, okay?
Mhm.
To the investigation, because at that point, the infant was transported to the pediatric intensive care unit in Lafayette. During the interview, Gorman recalled an incident where the mother had the infant in bed and fell asleep, leading to the infant to fall on the carpeted floor. He recalled another incident where he was holding the infant and tripped over the dog and fell to the ground, leading the infant to bump his head and his face and his shoulder on the ground. He then recalled another incident where the infant's 2-year-old brother purposely sat on the baby. And the infant were both placed in foster care at that time, and now they've both been adopted.
Yes, by the cousin of the mother,
Yeah,
Miss Bergeron.
that baby was well on its way to being killed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so then we fast forward. You've had a lot of breaks and all of this, because that was a charge then to 2017. And then, they come to do a house check, and while the parole officer's there, She finds 1.25 pounds of marijuana and over 100 rounds of 40 caliber ammo, which was taken into evidence. So that's another one. And it's just 6 months later from this very serious charge with the baby. Then you just fast forward and it's about 2 years later. And then that's when you get into the wreck that you run into the motorcycle. And then, yes, the man had serious injuries. And as you said, the man lost his leg. So his life was forever changed, and no telling how much pain he's in every day. But when the trooper, they examined you in the car, the trooper said Gorman displayed poor balance, glassy bloodshot eyes, a clear bag with white crystal substance was inside, 2 glass pipes were seized, and Gorman was placed under arrest for first-degree vehicle negligent injury, driving on the right side of the road, possession of Schedule II meth, and drug paraphernalia. And then you were put in jail, and that's how you got where you are today.
Yes, ma'am.
So you have done very well as far as classes and stuff, but you have major opposition. You can just imagine the sentencing judge is opposed, the district attorney is opposed. And according to this, there's 6 opposition and 5 no comments. And the DA is opposed in Allen and Evangeline Parish. Anything you want to say about that? I know that you talked about your victim with the motorcycle, and you can't speak to him directly, but I saw that you took victim's impact and stuff like that. If you had something you would like to say to him, if people are listening, you have to address us. What would you like to say to this man? Because his life was changed forever.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, I would tell him that I'm never gonna forget how I impacted his life. I know that there's nothing that I can physically or verbally do or say that's gonna, you know, fix anything. And if he doesn't forgive me for my role in that, then there's nothing that I can blame him for. Nor can I blame anybody that is opposed to my release, my early release or whatever. These people don't know me or the things that I have either gone through or experienced in my life, and I can't blame them for how they feel. They're just taking a more academic approach to what's in front of them, I suppose.
One thing, I want to interrupt you, speaking about the changes and you've got a good job and everything. Were you, did the judge order restitution from you for this man? Are you ordering restitution?
I do not have, I don't know if there has been any restitution set. And I want to say that there was a hearing that I was supposed to go to, but nothing was, I never actually went to it. I think it was postponed.
I was wondering because in all the paperwork, and I got a lot of it here, somewhere I thought I read that you have court ordered restitution, but it was to be determined later because of course, nobody knew exactly what his expenses and all was going to be. So that's something you might want to check into to see about that. So I think I've pretty much covered everything. I mean, you've done all your classes and you're continued on the right path. It's just you have such a bad history. I don't have anything else to say.
I have no questions.
When's your good time day? When you getting out no matter what we do today?
September the 9th, 2026.
Okay, so you're gonna get out in 10 months anyway.
About a year. Yes, about 14 months, I think, something like that.
Did I figure it wrong, or it's September 2026? Yes, sir, you're correct. I'm using somebody. Okay,
So I got
why did you lose some good time? 60-day loss of good time
For intoxication.
while you were there in jail?
Not here, but about 3 years ago, I was in DeQuincy, and they had taken my job from me because I didn't. I still had. That was before that I had taken my time for the charges that I'm in jail for now, and yeah, I messed up while I was there.
Do you think you dealt with your substance abuse problem?
I think it's a thing that people who suffer from it or people who have a tendency towards it always battle it. I'm an emotional person, so I get, a lot of my drug use throughout the years has been tied to depression or anxiety or anything like that. As I get older, I find my desire to retreat in that direction lessened. Um, I I know it's not a laughing matter, but I oftentimes talk with people who are in my position, and I tell them all the time, like whenever I was in my late teens and early 20s, I didn't care about getting arrested or going to jail, and I lived like I lived very wildly. It wasn't until I started going, I'm getting older, I need to actually start kind of calming down, or it wasn't until then that I started getting in trouble, like real trouble. But
All right, I think we're prepared to vote.
Yes.
Ms. Stapleton?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm gonna deny you parole today. Of course, you're fixing to get out anyway. So, you've been revoked 3 times. You have law enforcement opposition and victim opposition.
Okay,
My vote also is to deny due to law enforcement opposition.
okay, and I concur. My vote is also to deny because I think you need to go ahead and serve the rest of your time there. I think you need to fully deal with your substance abuse problem. I think you're trying to, and I think you need more time. And so as 11:32 in the morning, your parole has been denied. Thank you.
Let me know what you think about this case in the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit subscribe for new videos every week.